Welcome back to another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast. This is episode 185. I hope everyone is having a great day, great night, wherever you are around the world. So much to get into on today's show. But before we officially start, make sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast. I can't thank you guys enough for the continuous support. I would have loved to record it for you guys yesterday or Tuesday, but I've been interviewing for a bunch of jobs on the other coast in Miami, Florida. Well, I will be moving in the next week. I'm super excited about that. Can tell you guys more about that next week. There's just too much to get into on today's show. We got the NFL draft, which is tomorrow. I can't believe the draft is already here. We have to talk about the NBA playoffs briefly, the NHL playoffs. I don't have anything for you guys in the MLB. A little bit about the WNBA with the the recent free agency, about the contracts there. We'll talk about Justin Bieber's Coachella weekend 2 performance, talk a little bit about that. Coachella wrap up there, all the history that Justin Bieber made. NBA playoffs round 1, NHL playoffs round 1 as well. Billy Donovan's out as the Bulls head coach. Todd Golden, is he staying at Florida? Is he leaving? Steve Kerr is most likely out, but that's what we'll be talking about on today's show. The first thing I want to talk about, we'll briefly talk about this because we could spend a whole entire episode on this. The NFL draft. Yes, we finally made it. The NFL draft is tomorrow. This year, it'll be in Pittsburgh. We all know who the number 1 pick is going to be, but from there on out, it could, everything could change from there. Of course, you just saw the Giants and the Bengals make that trade. We'll talk about that, which was crazy to think about, that the Giants got the 10th pick for Dexter Lawrence. But I'm excited for the draft tomorrow night. At first I wasn't, but then I started looking into it a little bit more because we had the combine, of course, in February, and we know all the players, most of them 1 through 32 or 1 through 15 or 1 through 10. You know most of the guys, of course. We know Mendoza's going 1. That's a given. Just like last year was Cam Ward when he went 1, and the year before that was Caleb Williams. So that's really not the important part of it, right? It's really about the trades. You just saw, of course, like I mentioned, the Giants and the Bengals made that trade there. So the Bengals will lose their 10th pick, and the Giants now have the 5th and the 10th pick, which is crazy to think about. Could be Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. Could be Arvell Reese and Caleb Downs. But whatever John Harbaugh's got up his sleeve, I'm interested to see, because obviously, he drafted Kyle Hamilton a few years ago out of Notre Dame. Is he going to take that same blueprint by drafting Caleb Downs at 5 or at 10? I think Downs will most likely be there at 10. Maybe not. Who knows? But that's what makes the draft so interesting and so fun. It's like after the first couple picks, you kind of really, the first couple picks, after that, you don't really know. And that's what makes it fun. Of course, the Chiefs now they got a top pick, of course, because they traded with the Rams, and they traded and they had their draft pick for this season from their bad season last year. So that's what I'm really excited about. But of course, as a Patriots fan, that's what I'm going to talk about for who I want the Patriots to draft. Well, before the show, I did a little I watched some tape on some players. Of course, a lot of Patriots fans want us to draft a receiver with Casey Concepcion to see if he falls. Of course, the A.J. Brown stuff, we'll talk about that later on in the show. But I watched tape on 2 guys. Max Inakior, I'm botching his name. And Max from Arizona State. I knew I was going to botch his name. I listened to his pronunciation before the show, and I still can't get it right. That's an embarrassment on my end. So my fault on that. But there's another guy named Zion Young from Missouri, and that's what I'm really excited about as well. I watched both their tapes. And if you were asking me who the Patriots should draft, well, Max from Arizona State, Inakior, if I'm pronouncing it right, he is the guy that you can work with, right? He's a project. I don't think he's going to start day 1. Of course, you got Will Campbell on the left side. You got Morgan Moses on the right side. Well, then you go to the defensive side and you have Harold Landry on one side. And now you have Draymond Jones because you lost Clavon Chase onto the Washington Commanders. So now you fill that void with the guy named Zion Young. Harold Landry's getting a little older. He's got the knee problems there. But what is the Patriots' best option? Well, if you want to go project-wise, you go with Max Inakior, or Inacio, however you pronounce it. Or if you don't want to go project-wise and you think this guy could be a day 1 starter for you, you go Zion Young. But in my opinion, or from what I've seen from Vrabel's drafts in the past and how he is as a coach, I think he's going to go with the Arizona State tackle. if he's there, right? These are just my opinions. Who knows if these two guys are going to be here, right? Or they do TJ Parker from Clemson because you need an edge rusher as well. But you have Jones and Landry, and if you trust Landry, Draymond Jones is going to be fine. And you trust Landry, okay, then you go tackle because Morgan Moses is 35 years old. He's not getting any younger. Will Campbell on the other side, he's your solidified left tackle. I know he had a bad Super Bowl. I know he had a bad postseason. All I'm saying is for the future, that's your guy. However, though, the right side of the line could also be addressed because, like I said, Morgan Moses is getting older. So either one of those guys I'm fine with, but I think the Patriots should draft. I'm so torn in between. I watched both their tapes. Inakior is more of a project, right? Zion Young he looks good from the tape that I watched. But listen, Vrabel could be like, I want a project guy. This is the guy I want to work with. I think he's got the potential. He's got a very high ceiling. Now, some people were comparing him to Titus Howard. Other comparisons out there as well. But that's really how I'm feeling about that. He's a project with a massive ceiling. He's only been playing football for a few years. That's the kicker there as well. So that's the big thing there. We can't ignore, of course, Vrabel was with him at his pro day, so it's not a secret there that he doesn't like this guy. He loves this guy. And if Vrabel wants his guys, you just saw him go get Kevin Byard this offseason from the Bears, former Vrabel guy. A.J. Brown is going to be a Patriot, former Vrabel guy. He wants his guys, so I get it. Does he have more of a connection to Max Inakior, or does he have more of a connection to Zion Young? I think it's more the Arizona State tackle. But then, of course, you have Zion Young's tape. He's no secret to being a stud. 6'6", 265. He's not a speed rusher. Who's going to fly around the edge. He's a bull rusher. But, man, from what I watched the tape, he can get to the pass rusher pretty effectively. And that's what you need in this modern-day NFL. Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow's nifty back there. And plenty of other quarterbacks. I mean, we can keep going down the list. Patrick Mahomes, and you're in the AFC, Justin Herbert, especially in the AFC. So you need a guy like that. But I feel like you have that with Draymond Jones, and you have that with Harold Landry. Now, of course, Harold Landry, is he going to be ready by next season? We don't know. But I can see Vrabel taking the project guy and Max Inakior from Arizona State, especially since you saw him work with him at his pro day. But he also has to be there, too, at 31. Who knows, right? The NFL is weird. The draft, another team can say, hey, no, we want to trade up for him. Think he has a high ceiling. Anything can happen on draft day. But those are the two guys that I think the Patriots should draft. I don't think the Patriots should draft a wide receiver. No, I think you can spend that on a later pick and later rounds. Joey, you're crazy. We haven't had a barn burner type receiver. We've never really drafted a first-round receiver. Never. We haven't drafted a first-round caliber receiver in quite some time. N'Keal Harry never panned out. Tyquan Thornton. But I don't think your sure guy is there at 31, and you're not in the position of pick in the 10 to, you're not in the position of 10 to 15 range. You're just not. So I think you go get yourself a defensive guy, or you go get yourself the offensive edge rusher or the offensive tackle. A.J. Brown is I would say 99% is going to be a Patriot after June 1st. And hey, that's how I'm feeling. All right, guys, moving on. Briefly, we'll talk about Brandon Aubrey being the highest paid kicker in the NFL. I don't want to spend too much time on this. This was a no-brainer. When you're the best player at your position, you deserve to be paid that money. And it's crazy to see. Maybe it's crazy to see a kicker get that much money. I mean, the records speak for themselves. He's single-handedly, I feel like, he single-handedly put the team on his back in Cowboys games. I mean, the salary cap chess match. Of course, with Dak and CeeDee's contract looming in the headlines, locking up Aubrey now ensures that the Cowboys' scoring floor remains elite while they navigate through. Yeah, because they still have to. They paid CeeDee, and Dak's on the books for a lot as well. But this was a no-brainer, in my opinion. Next thing we'll briefly talk about: Will Anderson being the highest paid non-paid quarterback in NFL history at $50 million, or is it? Yeah, $50 million per year. He passed Parsons and he passed Watt. I mean, remarkable. But when you're an all-pro in the season that you just had last year and what you've been able to do in the NFL out of Alabama the past couple of years, I have no problem with him being paid this money. You saw how valuable you've seen how valuable edge rusher is in the NFL. You saw what he did at causing havoc against the Patriots in the divisional game. So I have no problem with Will Anderson being paid. I really don't. The next thing I want to talk about, this will give a little bit more time. The Dexter Lawrence, New York Giants trade to the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, if you guys remember, 2 episodes ago on the podcast, I said Dexter Lawrence was going to be traded, and I got flack for it on social media. They're not going to trade him. You're crazy. Listen, I was right about one thing, and I was wrong about a second thing. He went for a first round pick. I didn't think they were going to get that. But the Bengals were desperate. Their defense has been a dumpster fire the past couple seasons. You saw they just got Mafe from the Seahawks. They traded for Dexter Lawrence. They got Brian Cook from the Kansas City Chiefs. So you sit there and you go, well, the Bengals are in win now mode. If we're going to try to keep Joe Burrow, or if Joe Burrow is going to stick around, we got to do something to our defense. Now, some people may say that's crazy to say, but their defense has been a dumpster fire the past few years. Before, the defensive coordinator was Lou Anarumo, and then you flip forward now last year to Al Golden, former Notre Dame defensive coordinator. So yes, my opinion about this. Do I think the Bengals won this trade? No, I don't. I think the Giants won this trade. And maybe some people don't agree with that. That's perfectly fine. That's the nature of sports, right? I think the Giants won this trade because you had the 5th pick already from your dumpster fire season last year. And then you go get rid of a disgruntling star who only had a half of a sack last year, who wanted $30 million. And John Harbaugh is out here playing chess and not checkers. And I saw this from Colin Cowherd, and I agree with him. I don't agree with every other sports, analyst or commentator's opinions. What Cowherd said, I agree with this. He said that I don't think in the John Harbaugh era for the Giants, they will be picking in the top 10 again. I think he's absolutely right. I really now that you got the 5th pick and you got the 10th pick, those two players, if they turn out to be superstars, and Jackson Dart takes that next step next year, and you're getting Malik Neighbors back, and you've done some other things on defense, and the draft is coming up here. So let's say you hit on these 2 home run picks, 5 and 10, or home runs. It's Downs and Reese, or it's Downs and Styles, or maybe Love at 5. Maybe he slips out of the 3-4 with the Cardinals and the Titans. I don't see that. I see the Cardinals or Titans drafting him. However, though, yes, in my opinion, the Giants won this trade, especially getting off of a guy like Dexter Lawrence, who doesn't want to be on the team, who requested a trade, and he's not the same defensive tackle he was from a few years ago. And maybe he proves us wrong. And maybe, the Giants were that bad. You had the Dable stuff last year. That was a whole mess there. And then Kafka takes over. And then, Harbaugh, of course, is hired a few months ago. But my thing is the Giants won this trade. And of course, people are going to say the Bengals won this trade. It's just the 10th pick. It's not a certain that this guy turns out to be good, but you also had to pay Dexter Lawrence and extend him. And I think they extended him to a $28 million extension through the 2028 season. Dexter Lawrence is not a bad defensive tackle, but he's not on the level of a Chris Jones. He's not on the level of a Milton Williams, a Barmore, a Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter. I don't think he's on that level. I think he's a good defensive tackle. I think he was that. I think he was that guy at one point, but I think as time has gone on, he's older now too. I have no problem with the Giants trading him. I really think the Giants won this trade. Half of a sack in 2025. Yeah, instead of paying him $30 million a year through his 30s, he's opting for a younger, cheaper blue chip talent. I don't blame him. I don't think he's worth that money. I understand the salary cap and the market the way it is now. You have to pay these guys. The Bengals, they got desperate and they said, we don't care about a 10th pick. Maybe we don't think our guy is there at 10, but we think Dexter Lawrence is that guy. And that's exactly what they did. Okay, guys, the next thing I'll shift into is the A.J. Brown sweepstakes. I'm sorry that I'm bringing this up again, but it came out on Monday that it's most surely 99% that A.J. Brown will be a Patriot after June 1st. All the stuff that we've been saying leading up to this, right? Well, we're almost in May, so we're just about a month and a week, roughly a little less than a month and a half away. And A.J. Brown is a no-show at Eagles training, Eagles voluntary workouts. You don't have to go to those if you don't want, but supposedly he's had no communication with the team. And then, of course, at the NFL meetings a few weeks ago in Orlando, Howie Roseman basically said A.J. Brown is an Eagle. Well, of course he's saying that because he wants to smoosh it over, push it to the side. A.J. Brown doesn't want to be on the Eagles. We understand that. And when Adam Schefter reported that on a Monday, people can debunk it all they want. And of course, the Brucini and the Vrabel drama. A.J. Brown will be a Patriot after June 1st. And I want people to give me my respect, or I want people to say, wow, you were right. Yeah, and when it happens, I'm going to say, I knew it was going to happen, because he's wanted to be a Patriot for quite some time now. He doesn't want to be on the Eagles anymore. And listen, all that stuff with the drama, A.J. Brown wants to be a Patriot. And the thing about this too is another thing. A.J. Brown's salary cap, or his cap hit, goes in half after June 1st. That's why it died down a little bit. But the Eagles technically happened after June 1st without the Eagles eating the massive cap hit, $40 million dead cap hit by staying away. Yeah, that's perfectly fine by me. And people are like, oh, well, you know what? Eagles fans, well, we want Christian Gonzalez, that's not happening. You're getting what he's worth. We're not doing a Christian Gonzalez type swap. Okay, not the first round pick this year, but next year's first, fine. And first and a second, AJ Brown. Done. That's it. First and a second for AJ Brown, or maybe they don't even get a first for him. But I don't think his market's very big. And you know what? I think out of respect, the Eagles will be trading him to the Patriots. I really do. But listen, like I said, Monday, April 20th, it's not a rumor anymore. It's a strategy. Listen, guys, I'm not going to go down the whole beating path. We know where AJ Brown wants to be. He wants to be a Patriot. It's not a secret. It's not a given. And people were trying to tell me on social media, I can't believe you're still continuing this story. It's embarrassing. It's like, well, when Adam Schefter reports it, how embarrassing really is it? How much of a fool do you look like now when it happens after June 1st, when AJ Brown officially becomes a Patriot? It's not been a secret this entire time. And you know what? There's a reason why the Eagles got insurance money and they went and they traded for Dontavian Wicks. There's a reason why that they brought in Elijah Moore, because they know AJ Brown won't be on the team next year. You don't make those moves if you know that your star receiver won't be on the team next year. I can, try to pull up analogies in my mind really quickly, but that is like, I don't know, let's put this into perspective here. You taking, I don't know, a lump sum amount of a loan or something because you can't afford something, or you're preparing for something bad to happen. That's why you're preparing for it, right? Or you're preparing for a natural disaster to happen. Well, you're going to take precautions for it, right? If those analogies work for you guys, they work for me. All right, guys. The next thing I wanted to talk about is Aaron Rodgers. Well, this is the first time we've talked about Aaron Rodgers this entire offseason, basically, other than the beginning. Like, now that we're deeper into the offseason because the draft is tomorrow. Well, Art Rooney, the Steelers owner, said it's exhausting. He's fatigued at this point with it. He doesn't know. They're hoping to have a decision. Listen, I think the Steelers should just completely shift away from the Aaron Rodgers stuff. I know you're going to say, that's crazy. If he wants to come back, run it back with McCarthy for one more year. How many times are we going to say run it back, right? You had the Tomlin situation last year. You got to the wild card round. You got embarrassed by the Texans. That was an abysmal game to watch. Aaron Rodgers looked like a man out there in a walker. Yeah, the Steelers' offensive line isn't that good, but how many more years are we going to keep saying this? It's like Aaron Rodgers should just 100% retire. And supposedly what they're saying is it's 50-50 for him to come back or to retire. What else more does he have left to prove? And the fact that the Steelers are sitting there waiting for him, I understand Aaron Rodgers has earned his respect. He can do what he wants, but we're deeper into the offseason now. Well, after the draft, we're miraculously going to hear about the Rodgers news. It's like, it's tiring. It's frustrating at this point. It's exactly what Rodgers has probably planned to do this entire time. And he doesn't even seem committed. I know he was on the McAfee show a couple months ago, and he was saying that could have been his last run with the Steelers and Tomlin. I could very well see Aaron Rodgers walking away. I think he should. I don't think he's got much more left in the tank. I mean, you saw in the wild card game, but when the owner is coming out and he's saying that he's fatigued by the wait, and here's his direct quote: "I wish I could tell you we're at the end of the discussion, but we're still talking to Aaron, and he's still deciding what he wants to do." Rooney said on the WDVE Josh Alper of Pro Football Talk show, "I think we're close. He's kind of told us his time frame of what he's going to be up to over the next couple of weeks. I think we'll have an answer soon, but let's put it that way. I think we'll have an answer soon." So we don't even know if he's going to come back. So the Steelers, for their draft room, their big board, they're going into it. Aaron Rodgers isn't on this team. He's not anywhere near being a part of this team. Right now, your quarterbacks are Will Howard and Mason Rudolph. Now, I think the Steelers, what they really should do, I think they should just bite the bullet and draft a quarterback. But the problem is this quarterback class is not very deep. Maybe you think Ty Simpson is the guy at 21. I don't know about that, really. I mean, I really don't know. Outside of Mendoza, really, who is that guy for teams? You got Mendoza, you got Cade Klubnik, you have Ty Simpson, Diego Pavia, but this class is not very deep. It really isn't. Outside of Mendoza, they're all question marks. Really, that's how it is. There's plenty of other positions out there skill wise. So maybe the Steelers say, you know what? We don't think that our guy is there at 21. That they were linked to Shedeur Sanders last year. They drafted the defensive tackle, Derek Harmon, last year. So maybe they say, I don't know. Maybe we'll run it back with Will Howard and Mason Rudolph. But the Steelers eventually are going to have to come to the conclusion that you're not going to have Aaron Rodgers forever. You're going to keep finishing 9-8, 10-7, 8-9, whatever. But he's not going to be there much longer. I think they should just go in the direction of bye-bye. Even if you don't draft a quarterback this year, go in with those two quarterbacks next year and just accept it that you're going to be bad next year. They can't do that because they brought in Rodgers last year. So briefly sticking here on the Steelers, we recently just saw that Mike Tomlin is going to be joining the NBC as an in-studio analyst on Sunday Night Football, and I think it's pretty cool. I thought it was a no-brainer when he heard that he was parting ways with the Steelers, but there's a kicker to this here, like we talked about earlier on the show, or a couple months ago on the show. Mike Tomlin is playing chess, not checkers. He is still under contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if he stays with NBC for a year, the only way for a team to acquire him is for him to be traded, just like the Sean Payton stuff from a couple years ago when he took his stint away from the Steelers from the Saints, and he was signed by Fox, and then of course you saw the Broncos traded for him. But some team is going to definitely call Mike Tomlin after this year, but I'm sure he's going to do great in as an analyst. He's got a mind of his own. He's a brainiac with football. I mean, you saw he's one of the best coaches of all time. What's to say he's not going to do good as an analyst or as a commentator? Sean Payton was great as well. So that's the kicker here, though. Is he going to stay in the booth, or is he going to stay as a commentator, or is he going to, is he playing his cards right and he's going, I'm going to wait until I think there's a really good opportunity with another team out there. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. Okay, guys, moving away from the NFL, we're moving on to the NBA. Well, of course, you have the NBA playoffs going on right now. You have the Pistons and the Magic. You have the Celtics and the Sixers, the Knicks and the Hawks, the Cavs and the Raptors, the Thunder and the Suns, the Spurs and the Blazers, the Nuggets and the T-Wolves, and the Lakers versus the Rockets. Well, the first thing I'll tell you guys is I am completely shocked. And I was wrong. I thought the Lakers were going to get swept first round by whatever top team they were going to play. It was going to be the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, or the Rockets. They've impressed me. They really have. LeBron has turned back the clock. I knew LeBron was going to do good. I just didn't know if any of the other role players were going to be helping out. But I don't know if the play that they're having right now is sustainable. This series isn't over against the Rockets. Listen, they're up 2-0. One of my friends, David, has been giving me heck on social media because the Lakers are up 2-0, and I thought they were going to get swept. Now, I didn't know when I made this claim, I didn't know the matchup they were going to have. I still think the Rockets can win this series. KD just came back game 2. He didn't play game 1, of course, with the knee contusion, but we don't know, right? Anything is up in the air. Lawson Reeves might come back. I doubt Luka comes back, but the problem for Lakers fans is I'm not a Lakers fan anymore. The problem with Lakers and the Lakers fans is you win this series, you know who you're going to have to face, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So good luck with that. Aside from that, these playoffs have been exceptional. It's been fun to watch. Everything is pretty even so far, except of course, the Thunder and the Suns. That is most likely going to be a sweep. Sixers surprised me last night. VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, they played, and great games. Celtics looked flat last night, but these series are all going to be good. Pistons Magic, the first game, I wasn't surprised. I think the Magic are going to give them a run for their money for sure. The Knicks and the Hawks, I still think the Knicks will win that series. I know they blundered in late in game 2. Cavs Raptors I think Canada's getting swept out of the playoffs in that one there. But shifting away from the playoffs for a second, the NBA news part of the show. Well, the first thing I'll say is Billy Donovan out after 6 seasons as the Chicago Bulls head coach. It's very interesting because Billy Donovan, before the NBA, was the head coach of the Florida Gators in college basketball. One of the greatest college coach, one of the best coaches, best coach in Florida Gators college basketball history. I don't know. I mean, you can say, well, yeah, you very well could say he's one of the best college coaches ever because back-to-back national championships in college basketball. Anyways, that was years ago. However, though, there's a whole cloud here, right? Because Billy Donovan was just fired by the Bulls, or released, fired, whatever you want to call it, by the Bulls. Steve Kerr is most likely done as the Warriors head coach. Even if the Warriors offer him a bag of money, or they load up the Brink trucks and they go to Steve Kerr's house and they knock on the door and say, "Hey, we still want you to be the coach, Steve. You've won 4 championships here. You've been our coach since 2014. We've been stable since you've been here. We had Mark Jackson before. Now, and then of course you took over, and the rest is history. You wrote your legacy here, right? You've won 4 championships as a head coach, and you won 5 as a player. Totals 9. So the thing is here is there's a coach in college basketball right now, which we talked about, which you guys know exactly who I'm going to bring up, Todd Golden. Well, the only reason why Todd Golden would ever leave college basketball or leave Florida, because he won a national championship player last year, would be to go to the NBA. And there is a very big connection for Todd Golden to go to the Golden State Warriors. This all connects, right? What I'm talking about. If you guys don't understand what I'm saying is Todd Golden could potentially go to the Warriors, and Steve Kerr is out. Billy Donovan leaves the Bulls, and he could take the open job with Florida. These are all hypotheticals, but that's crazy how the sports world could work, and it very well could work out that way. But shifting into college basketball here for a second, the only thing that I'm concerned about, or what I'm thinking about, is Thomas Howe just came back to Florida. He just said yesterday he's coming back. And then you, of course, Alex Condon. So it would be very tough for Todd Golden to leave Florida in that position. But the another thing too is, an NBA team only cost them $2 million or for him to be bought out. And Todd Golden has connections to Golden State. So that's my only concern, as you saw him when he coached at USF at University of San Francisco. In Golden State, he's got a connection to the LeCoultre family. Steve Kerr is most likely out. Todd Golden has already proved himself at the college basketball level. You've seen what he's done with the Gators the past couple of seasons he's been there. One of the youngest coaches ever to 100 wins. One of the second youngest coach in college basketball history to win a title under 40, which was Jimmy V for NC State. And then you look at it and you go, wow, the NBA is a perfect opportunity for Todd Golden. He could easily leave. Does he want to miss out on this opportunity? I don't know him personally, but if I was Todd Golden, I would take that NBA job. And now, I know I said a couple weeks ago with the Dusty May stuff, Dusty May would be crazy to leave. He'd be crazy to leave Michigan to go to a dumpster fire NBA team with, not a promising team. But we're not talking about just an NBA team. The Warriors are one of the biggest brands in all of sports because of what Steph Curry has put them on the map, and what in the modern era of what they've been able to do. I understand the Warriors had their time, with Wilt, Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, that era years ago, before I was even thought of. I'm talking about in the modern era right now. Would you pass up an opportunity to go do that? I can't answer that. It's a very tough pickle. But then again, the other side of the coin is, Joey, you're crazy. Todd Golden's not leaving Florida. He's built a legacy there. He could potentially win another title this year with Howe coming back, and Condon, and Chinyelu just declared for the draft, but he's mostly likely going to come back. And you have Boogie Flan there still. You just got back Denzel Aberdeen. He's not eligible. We don't know yet, but that's my biggest thing. But then there's also another thing too. Thomas Howe just came back to Florida. Does he know something that we don't? And I'm sure these rumors have loomed for a couple weeks, right? That's my only thing. That's what I'm feeling. But if I was Todd Golden, it's not just another NBA job. This is like, you're building for the future. You're building for the legacy. And then another side of the coin is Steph Curry is at the end of his career. Are you going to want to put yourself into his shoes of the Warriors are a mess? So maybe he says, no, I don't. Thank you guys so much to the LeCoultre family. My loyalty is at Florida. I don't know personally, but this is how I'm feeling. I'm 50-50. I would lean 60 he stays at Florida, 40% he takes the Warriors job. He already has ties to the Bay. The LeCoultre family loves him. They saw what he's been able to do at Florida. He has been great at developing young talent. As you've seen what he's like I said, what he's been able to do at Florida. But the NBA is a total different animal. Do you want to put your shoes into that? Do you want to step into that mess? Of course, the Warriors, Draymond Green's older now. Steph Curry's at the end of his career. What are you going to do? Right. That's the thing. But you know what? I will say this now that I think about it. I think he's going to stay at Florida. I don't think he's going to take the NBA job. Maybe he says, you know what, guys, I appreciate the NBA job, but it's not the right time for me. I'm still building my legacy at Florida. Maybe not with the Warriors, but hey, let's revisit this NBA conversation in 5 years. He's still extremely, extremely young. Or maybe he says, you know what? I've done all I need to do at Florida. I brought them a title, their first title since 2007. They really haven't been that good since Billy Donovan left. They had the Mike White era. It was a disaster. Thanks to me, I brought this team and I put them back into contention. That we've blundered last year in the second round, but that's not our ending story. I don't know, guys. That's how I'm feeling. That's really how I'm feeling about that whole thing. Well, of course, you have the NHL playoffs, which is kicked off. Some good games as well. Sabres Bruins has been a great series, 1-1. Of course, you saw the Sabres come back in game 1. Lightning Canadiens, that is a battle of two Eastern juggernauts. I mean, such a fun series. You saw last night it went to overtime with the Lightning winning. But the Canadians they never roll over. They've always been a tough team. Then you got the Hurricanes and the Senators. I think that series is over. Carolina's up 2-0. And you got the Penguins and the Flyers. I was a little surprised that the Flyers were up 2-0. This potentially could be Crosby's last year as well. The last run with Malkin, Letang, and Crosby. Carlson, of course, in that mix as well. Battle of the state of Pennsylvania. Then you shift to the Western Conference. Colorado and the Kings. That's been a dogfight series. Colorado just won 2-1 in overtime last night. They won 2-1 in the game before. In game 1, Colorado's speed is just a thing that has to be studied, how good of a team they are, just watching them. But the Kings have put up a tough fight. Stars and Wild series is tied 1-1. Two great teams there that both scored over 100 points in the regular season. The Knights and the Mammoth battling it out there 1-1. Oilers and the Ducks. Edmonton's up 1-0. No Draisaitl, of course, because he's still out. McDavid's probably going to carry them, past the first round. And that's really what's the NHL playoffs are shaping out right now. And, I think it'll be more fun too once we get into the second round, but these have all been great series so far, other than the Ottawa one. But, even the Flyers Penguins one has been close. I mean, this series shifts to Philadelphia though. Even now, even with the Flyers up 2-0, I still think it potentially could go 7. Who knows? The WNBA segment of the show will shift into women's basketball here with, excuse me, the WNBA right around the corner. I can't wait. Caitlin Clark is finally coming back on the court because she only played, 10 or 11 games or 12 games last year? Well, of course, you got Asia Wilson's Supermax deal, which that happened last week for the Vegas Aces. 3 years, $5 million Supermax extension. And then you had, of course, Aaliyah Boston being the highest paid WNBA player. And that's what's pretty cool there. But I want to take this to the next level because I want to give you guys my opinion. If you thought Asia Wilson and Aaliyah Boston were paid high, wait till Caitlin Clark gets her contract extension, or she gets her contract after her rookie deal is over, or they extend her before her rookie deal is over. She went from making $76,000 as a rookie with a rookie contract to the new CBA where she's making projected around $530,000 this year. Listen, this may be crazy to say, but I think when Caitlin Clark is eligible for her contract, you're seeing in the 1.6 to 1.7 million. I think the salary cap will even go up even more. And I think because of the revenue that she's brought in, I mean, you just saw why the new Fever Stadium why the Fever are getting a new stadium. I think Caitlin Clark will get $2 million when she's up for her contract. I really do. I think the WNBA is only going to continue to catapult, and the numbers speak for themselves. I'm not going to sit here and give you guys every single number. You can look it up yourselves. But the fact that the revenue has grown up 400%, since she joined. The salary cap's currently at $7 million. It's projected to hit around 11 by 2030. Even before 2030, I still think she'll be. If Asia Wilson and Aaliyah Boston are getting 1.6, Caitlin Clark can't get 2 million. I mean, maybe Caitlin Clark is not the best WNBA player. However, right now she's not because of Asia Wilson, but the torch will eventually be passed. I understand Asia Wilson has 4 MVPs. I understand there's Paige Beckers. I understand there's Sabrina Ionescu. But I'm telling you, I think she's going to be in that $1.8 to $2 million range. And I think the Fever will give her whatever she wants. Just like how, this is how I think of it, right? How Patrick Mahomes got the largest contract in North American sports history when it happened a couple years ago. And of course, now it's Ohtani and Soto's there as well. I think Caitlin Clark will get the largest contract in WNBA history. I really do. That's how I feel. I mean, you've seen what she's been able to do, and you see the revenue that she's brought in. They're not going to want her unhappy. They're going to give her whatever she wants. She's making a ton of money from endorsements. I mean, here's the Tiger Woods comparison. Like Tiger in 97, her on-court salary is becoming gas money. She's pulling $16 million a year from endorsements. Nike, State Farm, Gatorade. And of course, if she gets that $2 million bag, wow. I mean, I think she is. I think she's going to get the largest contract in WNBA history when she's due for it. And I think she's going to prove herself even more next year. She's already proved herself. I don't think she really has much else left to prove. Like, I know she's still really young. She had the great rookie year, and then last year she got hurt, but that's how I feel. That's really how I feel. Forget the $76,000 rookie memes. Under the 2026 CBA, her effect has officially triggered the market reset. Yeah, these WNBA players that the market reset and the new CBA, like I mentioned last month, and the contracts that they're getting, they can thank Caitlin Clark for that. Seriously. I mean, we've said it multiple times. I remember I bumped into somebody and I had my Fever shirt on, and I didn't even know that it was 22 days until the Fever were playing like official WNBA basketball. And I go, yeah. She's, oh, I like your Fever shirt. She's like, yeah, thanks. She said, I like your Fever shirt. I said, thanks. And she goes, Caitlin Clark. I said, absolutely. I said, I have a jersey. I said, you know why the WNBA is the way it is, right? She goes, yeah, Caitlin Clark. Exactly my point. People understand. People with a brain understand. It's business. It's marketing. It's 101. It's not a complex thing to process. People just don't like to admit that because the WNBA never got the recognition or it never got the recognition or what it was supposed to be until she arrived on the scene. Seriously. Well, another thing too, the Fever are getting a new stadium. It's going to be ready by 2027. I know Herb Simon was the one that built that, but I wonder who was the driving force that was able to write that check. Caitlin Clark. Okay, guys. Well, of course, we talked about the basketball segment, the college basketball stuff with Todd Golden and Thomas Howe. The last part of the show, which I'm going to shift into, is entertainment, pop culture. Yes, of course, you just had Justin Bieber perform weekend 2 at Coachella, and he broke history. They had the largest merch sales in Coachella history at $15 million. I mean, I can't believe it. I thought weekend 2 was better than weekend 1. I really did. I loved weekend 1. I thought it was really cool. It was, it was raw. It was stripped down. But weekend 2, he interacted with his fans. He brought Billie Eilish up on stage for One Less Lonely Girl. He brought out Big Sean for As Long As You Love Me. SZA, I know we did Stay with Kid Laroi weekend 1. And then, of course, weekend 2, Sexy Red came out for Sweet Spot. But just the feeling and the nostalgic feel of what it felt like for weekend 2. I thought weekend 2 was better, and it was amazing. I know people are, of course, hating on it, but the fact when you sell $15 million of merch, when the original Coachella history was 1.7 million, like the most merch sales. I mean, that's just insane. And he had his biggest streaming day a couple days ago. But another thing, I want to go like back in time. Like, it was so awesome to watch Justin Bieber on that stage to do what he loves. And second of all, like it brought me back to when I was a younger kid, 5th grade, when I sang Baby talent show, and people were like, you still have the Bieber fever. The Bieber fever doesn't go anywhere. It will never, ever die. Like Justin Bieber, like he was sitting up on stage and he was like, I basically grew up with you guys. Yes, Justin Bieber, you raised the generation of boys and girls because we basically grew up with Justin Bieber. Like how our parents had Michael Jackson, we had Justin Bieber. Like, people will say he's the king of pop. Justin Bieber's not the king of pop. Michael Jackson is the king of pop. I don't care if Michael Jackson's dead or not. Justin Bieber is the prince of pop. And believers or pop culture, music fans respect that. And that's exactly how I feel about it. And that's exactly what I respect. But our parents, like I said, grew up with Michael Jackson. We grew up with Justin Bieber. And that's what makes it special. It's like most people don't understand. It's like, why are you so gravitated to Justin Bieber? It's like, well, same thing. Why were our parents so gravitated to Michael Jackson when he did the moonwalk and when he came on the scene? It's like Justin Bieber was the very first like pop star or pop culture music star that we could grow up with, and like we can talk to our kids about one day and go, holy crap, like I got to watch Justin Bieber grow up, like from his raw Instagram post to his Twitter to YouTube. Like he was discovered on YouTube. So when people are like, you still listen to him or he's still relevant, yeah, Justin Bieber's never going to go anywhere. Just because he had a hiatus or he had a time away for a couple of years doesn't mean that he's still not that guy. I mean, his merch sales just showed it to you. He had the highest streaming day that he's ever had in his career. He just had the largest Coachella performance, like they were saying, in history. He's charting all over social media. Of course, he doesn't get the money he doesn't He doesn't get any he gets the recognition. He doesn't get paid for the music, of course, that were before Swag 1 and Swag 2 because he sold off those to a group. Of course, because he needed the money at the time a couple years ago, but it's just so special to see him go up there. I never really thought, you know what, guys, I honestly didn't know that he was going to perform again after the Ramsey Hunt syndrome and the, tough times he had. I thought it was like, I think this is it. I'll always have respect. I'll always appreciate for what he did. And then he came back on the scene. He went and he grinded in silence. And he said, no, I'm still that guy. And you just saw that what he did this past weekend 1 and weekend 2. Justin Bieber made Coachella history. People will talk about that performance forever. Like, for just relating this to sports, the Bam Adebayo 83 points, people will never forget that moment. People will never forget the Cavs 3-1 comeback against the Warriors. There's certain the Patriots 28-3 comeback. There's moments in cultural history or sports and entertainment, because sports and entertainment are very intertwined. You'll never forget that Coachella performance. They will talk about that forever. They will talk about that for generations. The fact that he was able to bring back his fans and bring this back to a younger time and interacted with them, and he was comfortable, and he did the One Less Lonely Girl with Billie Eilish, who Billie Eilish grew up as a Justin Bieber fan, was just amazing. And yeah, I got a little emotional watching it because I grew up like watching him grow up, and I'm 27, he's 32, and he's my favorite artist of all time. Just like how our parents had Michael Jackson, we have Justin Bieber, and that's something that we get to hold forever. Like how people are gravitated to sports figures or they're gravitated to musicians. I'm gravitated to Justin Bieber's music. I think he has amazing vocals. Just like how I love Tom Brady. I grew up watching Tom Brady. Same thing. I grew up watching LeBron James. Same thing. So in sports, right? They retire. They go away. They go into their happy lives. That's what we thought with Justin Bieber when he went away from the scene for a few years. We're like, oh my God, he's done. We'll always have Baby. We'll always have Never Say Never. We'll always have Somebody to Love, Beauty and a Beat, Boyfriend, My World, Purpose, My World 2.0. Like, we'll always have the journals. We'll always have that. And then he came back onto the scene last year, and we're like, holy crap, he's back. And of course, some people don't like his newer stuff because it's different, but he's not that pop star. He's not that boy anymore. He's a grown man with a family, guys. Him going up on stage was something special. He just like catapulted back into the scene of just like the feeling of like, wow, all the years and all the memories we grew up watching him. It really, I don't want to get too, I'm not going to get too much more, away from it, but it was just amazing. The second thing I wanted to talk about is Justin Bieber, in my opinion, is 100% going on tour. That is something that I posted a clip about. He said at the end of his second show, I'll see y'all soon. I'll see y'all soon. What do you guys think that means? He's going on tour. Now, the only thing is I don't know. We don't know if it's going to be like his Purpose tour or his Believe tour or My World 2.0. Like, we don't know if it's going to be anything like that, right? It may be smaller shows. You just saw he did the Troubadour and the Roxy for 2 private shows in LA. And then, of course, he did Coachella weekend 1 and weekend 2. So we don't know, but when you say see y'all soon, we think he's coming back. We don't know if he's going to play his older stuff. He's still allowed to perform them live. Maybe he just completely closes that chapter and goes, I'm only moving forward. I'm only focused on Swag 1 and Swag 2, whatever. I'll take it. I've never got a chance to see him live. I've tried for so many years. It's so hard to get tickets. There's, girls out there that are crazier fans than I am. But I'll tell you, I'm a huge fan, and I think you guys know from listening right now, I've always loved Justin Bieber. I had the hair flip. I had the Bieber fever hair flip in 5th grade. I still remember when I sang 5th grade talent show. I wish I could get those tapes, or somebody recorded the videos of me 5th grade talent show. I was so nervous when I walked up there. Oh my goodness, I was so nervous. But yeah, guys, I mean, I loved every bit of his performance. When he brought out Big Sean for As Long As You Love Me and No Pressure, and the beautiful words that Big Sean said to Justin Bieber of like, hey man, like, you gave your all for this. You dedicated your whole life to this, bro. Like, this is everything. I was like, wow. I was watching. I stayed up late for it. I did. I got back after going out, and I was like, I'm staying up for this. And when those songs came on, like with the One Lost Lonely Girl one time, I was like, holy crap. Like, when I listen to the older stuff, it really hits me. When I listen to the newer stuff, I feel like more of like a man. I feel like more like connected, or just not as like, doesn't hit me as hard but like from listening to the younger stuff. Like, when I listen to the younger stuff, I'm just like, oh man, like this really hits my core, man. Like even other friends I know feel the same way because high school we listen to Purpose, younger years, we listen to My World 2.0. Like everybody, even if you don't love Justin Bieber, you know exactly who he is. Like guys, I will die on this hill. I've had conversations with my friends. I'm shifting back into debate mode here for a second. Justin Bieber is the biggest pop star in the world. He's just as big as Taylor Swift. I know people don't like to say that, but I think you tend to forget that Justin Bieber went away for 4 years. And if it just goes to show you anything, if you're not that big, you don't go and have the highest merch sales in Coachella history. You don't go and have the biggest weekends 1 and 2 Coachella's ever had. You completely knocked out their sales out of the water. You had the biggest streaming day you've ever had. You just reached the number one global artist in the world on Spotify. I don't know if it's Apple Music, but Spotify. And you've had all these songs charting and trending. You're that guy. You've never gone away. Like I said, he's the Michael Jackson of our generation. Maybe not as talented, maybe not as lyrically gifted, or maybe not as vocalized as Michael Jackson. He's got amazing vocals, Bieber does. But that's my opinion. That's what I believe. However, though, he had the biggest streaming day ever. He recorded historic 105 million streams across his catalog in a single 24-hour period. Global number one. That surge propelled him to number one on Spotify's global top artist chart. Put that in perspective. He saw a 54% increase in daily streams compared to the week prior. Coachella just absolutely catapulted him even more if it wasn't already. Like businesses, marketing agencies, social media has like taken this whole thing by a whirlwind, and he has just been on every algorithm that you could ever think of. It's not just my algorithm, it's on everybody's. That's how much of an impact he has had. However, though, the last two things I wanted to talk about were I thought Sabrina Carpenter's Coachella performance, the with Madonna one, the weekend one was cool, but the weekend two was weird. If you ask me, like, I don't know, like the energy that I saw from the clips and some of it I watched, like it just didn't give me the feeling of like it didn't compare to Justin Bieber's, that's for sure. Like if you want to compare the two, they weren't even comparable. One was nostalgic, one just seemed like felt staged and like forced, and you bringing Madonna out there, like there was no energy. I know they did Like a Prayer and Vogue. Most people in that crowd don't even know the song Like a Prayer. They may act like they do, or the song Vogue because of TikTok from Madonna. Madonna had the song Vogue in her time. Madonna was a huge pop star in her day. But bringing her out there at 70 years old or however old she is, like it didn't excite me. Like on paper, I knew like, oh my God, Sabrina Carpenter's bringing out Madonna. Oh my God. Like that would be like Justin Bieber bringing out Michael Jackson, and he's like 65 years old and he's frail as can be, and he's pale as a milk bottle, and he comes out there. People will respect him because he brought him out there. They'll respect Michael Jackson for the legacy that he created, but you don't need to bring out Madonna. I know it's a cultural moment or it's historical. You'll remember it, but you won't remember it for being good because it wasn't. I mean, just the crowd clips I saw, compare the energy from Justin Bieber's crowd to Sabrina Carpenter's, it's not even comparable. It really isn't. I don't know. That's just how I felt about it. But the Bieber energy wins. When he brought out Billie Eilish for One Less Lonely Girl, that was it right there. It was supposed to be Hailey Bieber, but Billie Eilish, they planned that. Haley and Justin planned that for Billie Eilish to go out there because she grew up a Justin Bieber fan, and that's what I'm comparing it to. But, of course, Sabrina Carpenter put on the high production show and the glitz and the glamour, and Sabrina Wood and Terry Crews, weekend 2 and weekend 1, Will Ferrell. It was cool. It was a skit. It was a performance. She has to do that stuff. Justin Bieber doesn't have to do any of that. He's already proved himself, which I mentioned in last week's podcast. All right, guys, the last part of the show is the new Michael movie that comes out. We briefly talked about it last week, but critics are already calling it to be boring and not good. It only got 27% on Rotten Tomatoes, but I haven't seen the movie yet. But one thing I will say, why can't we just sit back and respect the fact that Michael Jackson's nephew is playing him in a biopic? That's the coolest thing about it. Okay, the Michael Jackson estate had control over the movie and it left off in a certain time in 1988, and that's where they cut it. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't sit here and go, I loved it or I didn't like it. But just from a distance of the trailer and just seeing it, I just think it's cool, the fact that we get to watch Michael Jackson's nephew play him in a movie. Like the fact that that's what we're getting to see, I think is really cool. And maybe the reason why they did leave this off in 1988, because there's going to be another movie that comes out. Maybe that they already have this in the works, but I'm telling you, this movie is going to rocket up the charts, or it's going to do great in the box office. It's tracking for $125 million open weekend. Listen, everyone is always going to complain, and I get it. These Hollywood critics, or these people, these movie critics, this is their job. So I have no problem with them doing it, but this is just my opinion. And there's also people, of course, on the internet that have already said they love it or they don't like it. Everyone has an opinion. I totally get it. But I think we should take the different approach and respect the level of appreciation that we're seeing Michael Jackson's nephew play him in a movie, and the fact that how much effort and time Jafar Jackson put into Michael Jackson, trying to study Michael Jackson and his voice and his moves. Like, that's what's cool about it, if you ask me. But the biggest controversy is the film effectively ends in the story of 88. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I can't give you guys my opinion about it. The cutting narrative off right before the first public allegations surfaced in 93. Maybe the Jackson family estate said, no, we don't want any of that stuff in the movie. I haven't seen it, so I can't give you guys my full opinion about it. But that's my biggest thing, is the fact that we're judging it off of the movie it is. We should really appreciate the fact that we're seeing Michael Jackson's nephew play him in a movie. That's how I feel. Guys, on that note, that does it for us. I split the show into two different segments. The first was about sports, and the second was about entertainment. I can't thank you guys enough for tuning into another episode of the Inquisitive Mamba Podcast. As always, guys, it's Mamba mentality. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. Have a great week. We got the NFL draft tomorrow. We got the new Michael Jackson movie coming out Friday. The NHL playoffs are on right now. The NBA playoffs are on. And we'll see you guys next week.